Let me ask you this, because as a young artist or as a young musician, let me change that because there's a huge difference. And you are an artist too, but I want to formulate this question from a musician standpoint. As a young musician, it's very easy to just kind of get involved in cover music, right? Especially as somebody who plays so many shows. And I know you're playing a majority of cover songs too, probably at these venues. But what is inspiring you to write? Because usually, as a young artist, it's something extremely emotional will happen, and that makes you want to put pen to paper. And hey, I'm a musician anyway. I could probably do this. So, what got you over that hurdle?
I mean, obviously, I'm young and I
Yeah.
haven't lived a lot of life.
Hmm.
Um, so I haven't, had some of those hardships that other people have in life, and I haven't had a ton of experiences. But when I do write, I really like to write about things that have happened to me personally and how they made me feel. Because when I listen to other songs and I listen to like Olivia Rodrigo or Paramore or Billie Eilish, all the songs that I tend to like and listen to are the ones that talk about actual things that happened to them, because then I can relate to them and I'm like, oh, she's so right about this. Like, I can relate to this so much.
Hmm.
And it just makes me feel music on such a more personal level. And I think mixing that with super melodic tunes just makes it so amazing, in my opinion. So when, something happens to me in life, I immediately just try to, or I don't immediately, but I'll remember how I felt and I'll remember what happened. And then later I'll go back and think about how it made me feel and how it may have made other people feel, because obviously I'm not the only one living life and other people have gone through the same thing. And I just try to put into words how an event made me feel, and that's the best way I can describe it, because I really like just writing about things that actually happened to me.
Yeah, great answer. Let me ask you this: when you are writing about those things that you personally experienced, are you thinking about how your audience will relate to it too?
Pretty much, yeah, because when I'm obviously listening to those other songs, like I stated before, I'm thinking about how I can relate to them. So instead of being, I try not to be as specific with my songwriting, and I try to leave it more broad. So when people listen to it, they can be like, oh, yes, this person did me wrong like this. So it really depends on the person. Like my song Hold On to Me, it's about just having a relationship where the person is drifting away and you're trying to hold on to them. But I didn't specifically write it about a boyfriend or like a significant other. It's kind of just about any person. Like it could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be a pet, it could literally be anything.
So are you're thinking in those terms, being less specific while you're writing because of who or what your audience is. You're already thinking about that in the writing room.
Yeah, pretty much. Obviously there are times where I like to get more specific, but most of the time I like to, I don't know, just leave it to whoever the listener is thinking about.
Where are you learning this stuff as a young artist?
I don't know.
It's
I guess
just
just listening to other artists and thinking about how it made me feel. And then I don't know, when I'm writing, I kind of like to, this is what I always say. When I actually sit down and I say, okay, I'm going to write a song today, I always, I'm not really happy with how the final product turns out. I just know I can do better. But then later on, the second something happens to me and I'll just randomly write a song and it takes me like 5 to 10 minutes, they always turn out so much better than when I actually force myself to sit down. So I think in the creative process, I just kind of let myself go. And most of the time, I don't really have strict rules. And I think that's the best part about it. And I just kind of, I don't know, let my mind go while also being conscious about, the audience and how music makes me feel and all the other technical things.
yeah. So as you're starting out, you're writing from personal experience, but as you mature as a writer, are you also trying to write from other perspectives as well?
Probably, everything I've written so far is from my perspective pretty much, and things that have happened to me. But honestly, I don't know what I want to write about in the future or where it's going to go. I think just whatever comes to me is going to come to me, and I think that's when it turns out the best. So I'm just always about letting the world take me wherever it wants to go, and then I take it from there with words.
Yeah, and is your writing typically title based? And I'll try to explain. Like earlier when you were talking about Spider on the Wall, you kind of got that from a title, right? You heard the phrase and then you wrote a song around it. Is it always like that?
Not really, no. That is the one of the first times that has actually happened. I'm usually most of the time, many people used to ask me this question if it was the lyrics first or the music first, and normally I would say, you know what, it's pretty random. But recently it's been more of the music first, and I would write chords and then I would put the lyrics to them. But for Spider on the Wall, it was kind of a random one where I just had that song title and then took it from there out of nowhere. But most of the time, it's really I have a melody in my head or I write some chords and then I just randomly, write random things that come to my mind. Actually, my summer song that I wrote, Not So Serious, I didn't even have a name for it for the longest time. I just had all the lyrics and the song wrote out, and it was just called Summer Song. And then I just randomly called it Not So Serious because it was just the lyric that stuck out to me the most. So most of the time, it's not really a title that drives me, but Spider on the Wall was the oddball for me.
And as a writer, songwriters I feel like are conduits, right? You're just kind of taking what comes to you. Are you pretty open to every single side of songwriting, whether it's melodic or lyrical first, or if it's song title based? You're open to whatever comes in.
Definitely anything. Wherever my mind goes, I just let it go there. I try never to force it anywhere because I feel like that's, like I said, when it turns out not as good. So whenever, like Spider on the Wall, literally, the title just came to me when we were folding laundry and that happened, and then I just took it from there. But other times it will be the music, and then the music will give me lyrics, and then it just all comes in my brain super randomly, and I'm always open to whichever way it comes to me.
Yeah, there are some songwriters out there that are so adept at doing things a certain way, right? Like they'll get a lyric first or a title or whatever. Maybe it's a melodic structure, could be a riff, whatever it is. And they're so used to that being successful that they leave out all the other possible ways of songwriting. It's not something they do voluntarily either. It's just like it's almost like you ignore things that you don't like, right? Like if you don't like fish, you don't even think about the smell of fish, right? You just
Mhm.
it stays out. You just focus on what you're good at, essentially. I love that you're open to all of that, though, because that's just going to add versatility to you.